Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at the new Venom movie, Let There Be Carnage. With the first Venom movie, I was applauded for my bravery, cheered on in the comment section for finally saying what people were afraid to say when the movie came out, that it kind of fucking sucked ass. I didn't like the first Venom movie that much. I didn't think it was great. Felt like I was missing so many things, and the final product was just like a choppy mess where it didn't really have a satisfying story and a way of getting there. My biggest complaint was like Venom and his relationship with Eddie Brock. It just feels like it just came out of nowhere. In one scene, they hate each other, Venom's mad, and then the next scene he's like, you know what, I want to fucking save humanity. It's like, well, how did we get there? But setting aside my criticisms of the first movie, I think the second movie is better. I think it's a goofy, fun movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously at all. But it's also pretty redundant when compared to the first movie because it kind of does the same thing. At the end of the first Venom movie, it's like, we're going to save the world, we're going to eat bad guys, we're going to be a hero that's not afraid to rip some fucking heads off. And in this movie, they come in and they're like, we're not ripping heads off, you're in timeout, because Eddie Brock doesn't want bad guys to get their heads eaten by Venom. So pretty much the entire movie is just them bantering with each other. And granted, it is enjoyable, because I think the writing's good and Tom Hardy's very good. So them joking around and getting mad at each other and having these arguments that you would expect a couple to have is fun. But when that's the entire first hour of the movie, like the bulk of what's going on is just them not seeing eye to eye on how bad guys should be eaten and how they should be a hero and how Eddie Brock just wants to be left alone, it's just kind of tiresome because we've already kind of seen that with the first movie. I do love the actual fight with Carnage. I think at the end of the movie when they fight, it all works really well. It's a very satisfying fight, but everything leading up to there, I feel like they didn't know how to get it to that point. So they just threw in what worked the first time for most people, which was the back and forth with Eddie Brock and Venom. And I will say again, I just don't think Venom movies work at a PG-13 rating. Like for Carnage, for example, when Carnage is going crazy, he's fucking killing everyone, and Cletus Cassidy, when they're killing everyone, it's really cheapened by the fact that they do it all like off camera, off screen. So you don't really see that. You're not really like afraid of them or really impressed with their power. It's like, oh, this guy, he kicked somebody, and now we don't see that person again. It's like, it's kind of lame. That's not exactly scary. I said this in the first movie. I thought it was supposed to be R initially because the first movie is so chopped up that it feels like they cut out everything that made it R. And I also feel that way about this movie. It feels at times that it's edited in a way to hide scenes that were R-rated that they took away at the last second. I don't think that's the case because the first movie was PG-13. I imagine they planned for this one to be the same rating, but it still does feel that way. It's just there's something about the movie. Like, it just jumps around, and it just gets real silly. And not like it's self-aware silliness, just like, this is kind of dumb. To give you an example, this is going a bit into spoiler territory, so spoiler warning for this. At the end of the movie with the fight with Carnage, Cassidy has his girlfriend there, and you don't care about his girlfriend. They don't really do anything to flesh out this relationship or make you, as a viewer, care. It's pretty underwhelming. It's kind of dumb. But it's there because they thought it needed to be there to have like a climactic final showdown, so it is what it is. And his girlfriend is very clearly a psychopath just like Cassidy. She's killing people. She encourages him to kill people. She's impressed when people are dying. Cars are blowing up. Cops are being murdered. She loves it. And then at the very end of the movie, it inexplicably, or maybe I missed it, Carnage is about to hurt Eddie Brock's most important person. And she's like, don't do this, Cassidy. Now you've gone too far. You've got to stop. So then Carnage starts strangling her. He's like, we're not stopping, and I'm going to shut you up. And then Cassidy's like, no, that's my girlfriend. And then there's like this, back and forth with Carnage and Cassidy, like, you can't hurt her, it's my girlfriend, but she told us to stop, and she can scream real loud, that's bad for us. And it's like, well, what the fuck is going on? Why was she even, like, upset with Carnage and Cassidy in the first place? She was all on board for killing complete strangers, and now when it's someone who's a little less of a stranger, someone she actively kidnaps, now it's a problem. It's like, well, what the fuck is going on? So, it's just really, again, all over the place sometimes, and it just feels like it's missing crucial shots and scenes. Okay, now back from spoilers. The rest will be spoiler free. That was really the main one I wanted to talk about. Like I said, I didn't I didn't have like a bad time watching the movie. I enjoyed it because I thought the goddamn I got fucking eyelash in my eye. But yeah, like I said, I did have fun watching it because the writing was strong with its banter. Since that was the main bulk of the movie, was just them bantering, and they at least did a good job with that. They even send fucking Venom to a rave, so it's very clear that they're indulging in the silliness of the movie. But overall, I don't think it's like a great movie. Cletus Cassidy, I think, is played well by Woody Harrelson, but it's not a very good character. They don't do a great job with him. They just established he had a girlfriend that this girl that he really liked when he was young, and now he wants to get back together with her, and he's a serial killer. And they try and do that thing with serial killers where they say, like, the wackiest shit that's, like, super deep, but with Cassidy here, they just don't know how to write that. It's like, you see like in like anime where the villain has like these crazy monologues that are all like really profound and like wild. Well, they try and do that with Cassidy, but it just doesn't work. So like when he's on death row, he's giving like his last speech, and it's just super goofy. It's not like, that was scary, ominous, and yet profound. It was like, he'll give a speech and it's like, hey, Eddie, you know when you flush a toilet and the water goes down the pipes, that water's not coming back. That's like me on death row. I'm water in a toilet, Eddie. It's like, it wasn't a very cool villain monologue, and it really wasn't. It's scary. It was just kind of goofy. So that was pretty disappointing. And again, the girlfriend isn't really a strong character either. They don't do much to flesh her out. They just make her equally a psychopath to Cletus Cassidy. So that's really all you get there from that relationship. So you as a viewer aren't really going to care very much. But like I said, the final fight with Venom vs. Carnage was satisfying. I did enjoy it. I just wish leading up to there was more about the movie than just banter. There are some scenes of Carnage blowing up police cars, blowing up helicopters and shit, and it's good. Like it's still fun to watch. I think Carnage is a really cool character. But it's disappointing to have a character like Carnage, who's all about fucking murder, blood in the streets and gore and shit, like going crazy, to be a PG-13 movie where it just feels like he's a super watered-down version of Carnage. So he's not as intimidating as you would expect him to be. But that's more nitpicky. I don't think this movie was ever going to be R-rated, though I think it should have. It's not bad. I want to make that clear. I definitely think this is better than the first movie, so I did enjoy it. I didn't have a bad time. Let's plug it into the moist meter. I'm giving Venom Let There Be Carnage a 60%. Hopefully, if they continue the Venom franchise, they can finally stop making the majority of the movie just Eddie Brock and Venom bantering. It is enjoyable, but I think doing it 3 times in a row as like the main bulk of the movie is going to be a bit much. So hopefully now we can just establish he is the lethal protector. They're on the same page now, and going forward, we can start from that point instead of go backwards. So anyway, that's about it. See ya.